you could do the regular meditation you do, but just add to it a period of time where you come back to that pain or you come back to that shame, and you from that high place you bring love to that and compassion, and you witness what these parts want you to witness about what happened to you in the past. And then you literally go into those scenes and get them out of where they're stuck and bring them to a present that's safe.
Big show today, guys.
Happy to be with you.
Gabrielle Bernstein, a role model for a new generation of spiritual seekers.
I've been a spiritual student for so many years, but when I started studying IFS, I realized something that you've taught me, which is that for a long time, while my spiritual pursuits and experiences have been extraordinary and transformational and have offered me the opportunity to share so much, I was spiritually bypassing for a long time, using my meditation to go higher than the parts. So I would love to hear you speak about that, because a lot of folks in my audience are self-identified spiritual people who may be currently unconsciously spiritually bypassing. So I'd love to hear you talk about that.
Yeah. So a lot of people come to spirituality with trauma because they don't have nothing else has helped. And they think if I can be a really spiritual person, that will heal it. And they do find that the practices help them access what I'm calling self, because they can. I graduated college and I had a lot of anxiety. As a Jew, you just have it. It's a legacy burden. And,
Yep. A legacy burden.
And so I did TM, mainly as an anxiety, treatment, and did find that I could use the mantra and I could, get higher than my anxiety, and I could enter the non-dual, and I would have these very profound experiences, and I could function a lot better in my life, and it was really helpful in many ways, but it didn't touch my exiles. Right. It didn't really heal anything. It allowed me to stay above them in a sense. And so what I would call spiritual bypass is using spirituality as a way to get away from your exiles. And I don't want to denigrate it totally, because as you said, it can be very valuable. And had I not had the TM experience, actually, I wouldn't have known self when it showed up in my clients. Right. I could say, oh, maybe that's what that is. So, but my goal in terms of, because I'm trying to come to spiritual leaders with some of this information, is to use the meditation to access a lot of self, because many of these techniques are very good at that, but then bring that self to your exiles rather than stay away from them all the time. And so you could do the regular meditation you do, but just add to it a period of time where you come back to that pain or you come back to that shame, and you from that high place, you bring love to that and compassion, and you witness what these parts want you to witness about what happened to you in the past. And then you literally go into those scenes and get them out of where they're stuck and bring them to a present that's safe, at which point they're willing to unload the feelings and beliefs. So this is a model of transformation. It's not like some mindfulness practices where you just notice, you notice in a accepting way,
right,
your different emotions and thoughts and so on, but you don't try to change them. IFS, for me, simply noticing without trying to help isn't compassionate. These are suffering beings. So you notice, you separate, which is a great first step. Mindfulness is a great first step. You access some of this self, and then you go and embrace these parts and begin to let them get to know you, that you're in there, they're not alone, and that you can actually run your life in a way that they can't.
And IFS is a spiritual practice, I feel, in many ways. Uh, in your own words, how would you describe the intersection between IFS and spirituality?
Funny you should ask. I just am finishing a book for Sounds True on that topic.
Oh, well, excellent. Can't wait to read
Yeah,
it.
and it's called No Bad Parts,
Yep.
obviously. So
Yep.
um, it's a big question, but for me, what I'm calling self is what other systems call Buddha nature or Atman or the soul. Or so for me, it's that God within us, and that's why it can't be damaged, and that's why it knows how to heal. It knows how to extend love. It's all about love, both internally and externally. And and so for me, in quantum physics, a photon can be both a particle and a wave. And so there's a wave state of self, and that's what we meditate. That's what we get into when we go high into these higher levels, the non-dual, this ocean. You lose your boundaries because you enter the wave of self. But it's the same self who comes back and particleizes when you are separate, when you're in your body and you have boundaries and you're different, but when you're in self, you also sense that level of connectedness
Yeah.
that comes from the wave.
Yeah.
So for me, self is that, and I stumbled onto a way to access it quickly, and also to help people practice living their life from that place. So that's one aspect of the spirituality of it.
I hope you're enjoying this show. And if you want to get more Gabby, you can click the link below, subscribe to my Dear Gabby podcast on Apple, be the first to know when the episodes drop because they come out 1 week before the video. And you can download it to your phone, listen to it while you're driving, while you're cooking, while you're working out. You can just get more Gabby wherever you are. And if you feel called, leave a review. I'd love to hear from you. Now let's get back to this episode. And when you say access self quickly through the IFS style meditations, through the 8 C's, or the C's sort of a result of living in self?
It's both.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm facing a situation like when I came to do your podcast, I'll before we start, I'll notice how much am I in my body, how much self is present.
Right.
I'll notice how open is my heart, how much of a big agenda do I have, or how much can I just be present?
Mm-hmm.
How many of those 8 C's seem to be with me?
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't feel those things, it means there's some part that's trying to protect. And then I'll find the part that's doing that. And I'll say, if you had a microphone in my head, you'd hear, just let me handle this. It always goes better if you trust me to just, I can talk to Gabby and we'll have a good time if you just let me stay. And so that becomes a life practice. And then I'll suddenly feel my heart open,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll suddenly feel relaxed in terms of an agenda
Mm-hmm.
when they agree to step back.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't, but because I've done it so often now, and because I've healed so many exiles, they don't feel the same level of fear about protecting.
Right.
And so they trust me more, and now they let me lead in most cases.
Because they're no longer so extreme.
They're transformed. They're in their naturally valuable states.
Right. They have value. They're the experience I've had since March. Really, I told you it's like 7 years of IFS for overnight success. It was like I had this real big moment of recognition of self in this period since March. And now myself, if you heard her as a microphone, is really compassionate. Says, Gabby, you did the best you could. Let's try that again. Myself is really good at advocating for little Gabby now. Mm-hmm. And sometimes she does it in a way that's extreme. And so she feels shame for that. And then self comes in and says, okay, that was a little extreme. We can, but still you did good work. You took care of her, so it's really this beautiful internal landscape
Mhm.
of relationships that are led by
Mhm.
this all-knowing, all-loving part or truth.
That's right. It's good inner parenting, basically, is
It's
what you're
inner
describing.
parenting. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.